What up, what up, what up? It is your host, Scary Jerry, here in the booth with our co-host,
Tom Nivuk.
How have you been?
Oh, man. Things have been changing. Things have been going good. We're making moves.
I got
moves.
burnt out a little bit the other day, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
I was burnt out a little bit. I was like, oof, maybe we should take a break from the podcast for a bit to just like catch up on other music shit and stuff.
Honestly, I agree.
Yeah.
We just needed a day of just breathing room.
Yep, every now and then you guys got to take a break. There's nothing you can do about it.
Got to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Well, today we have another very, very special musical guest with us, AceDaMisfit.
Got me feeling limitless. I ain't with the cat, they be so limited. We could go far, why would you limit us? I don't think they'll fit, don't really mix with us, nah. Just like that dairy don't really sit with us. I mix my smoothies with some berries and that sea moss, I can't get enough. I drop a gem, I hope you pick it up. Hitting me on my phone, I ain't been picking up. I'm busy, locked in. How long I've been clocked?
So awesome. That's a fucking awesome name.
Welcome to the podcast. This is Scary Thoughts with Scary Jerry.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
We're so excited to have you.
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, me and Ace used to make music together back in the day, like it was fucking forever ago. It really wasn't that long ago.
Right.
But I was talking to Tama about all of the different musical artists that I would have loved to have on the podcast. And it's funny because we had Monroe first, but I actually mentioned you first, like in our early planning stages. I mentioned you as like being one of the first artists that I wanted on the pod. We just ended up having Monroe first because of it worked out.
Just the timing.
It worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
So, but welcome, and I would love to hear about, because you've been up to shit. We don't really stay in close like contact with each other because we're both busy and we both have lives, but I know that you've been working on a bunch of like really cool shit, and I'd love to hear about it, and I'm sure our listeners would love to hear about it.
100%. You know, I'm always like low key.
Yeah, you definitely are always a little bit low key there.
I don't always be popping out with stuff, but there's always things going on in my world, in my mind, really.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, always creating something. You
That's
know,
good.
whether it's a plan, whether it's just expanding on an idea or moving through life. Sometimes you got to take a break from the creative stuff.
Yeah.
Work on the business stuff, just the regular life stuff. Bunch of things pop up. So I've just been staying low.
Yeah.
But I got a few things in motion. I'm really been working on my brand. We Must Evolve is the name.
Evolve.
Ooh.
Okay.
We Must Evolve.
I love that.
Yeah. It's not just the I thing, right? But it kind of started from my mindset of self-improvement, working on myself. Because I tell myself when I look in the mirror, you must evolve. I must evolve. So the brand was about helping other people grow as well. So I was like, we must evolve. Sounds perfect. It's kind of crazy because I got the name from an anime.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one?
Ergo Proxy.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah.
I can't say I've heard of that one either.
Yeah, it's really dope. It's really dope. It's about a dystopian society, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of dark, but it's very thoughtful. It's very philosophical. I'm really into like the deep thinking and questioning reality and finding yourself. And the dude was basically saying we must evolve to the people that were in control of the society that didn't want to change. And it just stuck with me. So I didn't create a brand right there, but that name just stuck with me. Some years later.
It's crazy what we pull inspiration from, right?
Yeah.
Like it can literally come from anything.
Yeah. I thought it was crazy. I was like, we must evolve. Yeah. That
So-
works.
Yeah.
So for like helping people better themselves in what kind of ways, and like what is it that you do?
Well, I have to say my background started more in business, right? So like in high school, 2015, I started my first business, which was based on Amazon. I was doing Amazon FBA. So I was selling products through their system. FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon.
Yeah,
So
okay.
they handle all the products and everything like that.
So like drop shipping essentially, kind of. Like you wouldn't actually touch the product.
Yeah, just like drop shipping, you know, just through Amazon. And they already have their big customer base, right?
Yeah.
So I just had to learn how to do the marketing, contacting suppliers, communication, writing press releases, building websites, doing sales. So that was me taking my course instead of taking college. I went through like an online course, learning all these different things.
Wow.
And it basically transpired into We Must Evolve.
That's
Transmuted
cool.
into that for businesses, helping with social media marketing. Because after I started doing that, or after I stopped doing the Amazon and got into drop shipping, I had Shopify sites. I had some different things going on with that, made some money from some ads on Instagram, Facebook.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, selling different random items like Star Wars mugs and cat products.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know
Interesting.
that either. Like I was very just low key. I've always been like a quiet kid. So if you knew me, if you were like in my circle, you knew like what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I got into the wave pretty early before a lot of people started even talking about Amazon. Yeah, I wish I still had that business.
Really?
Yeah, but you gotta like adjust and adapt to things
Yeah.
because you think everything's just gonna work out a certain way. It doesn't always work out that
No.
way. But
Yeah.
you can maneuver. You can maneuver and take the things that you learn and put it into something else. So We Must Evolve became my own thing for that. So I want to help businesses. I want to help brands. I also want to help individuals for what I was doing.
Okay.
And I provide different services. Like I could do your website. I could do your logo. I could do your flyer. I could teach you how to start a personal brand. I could teach you how to, all the things that I was learning in the courses from, the millionaires and the people that were doing this, making big money off of social media, teaching corporations. So that was like my area of study because I wanted to do something where I don't always have to be at a certain place.
Yeah.
Because, most people trade time for money, but this is more of a value thing. Like what valuable skills do you have that you could get paid for? So social media marketing is part of my business model for We Must Evolve. I also didn't want it to just be solely focused on business. I wanted to be about mental health, right? So that's where myself came in because like that was one of my biggest battles growing up was with mental health. I was always my own worst enemy. Me versus me. That's always been a thing for real. So We Must Evolve was like, okay, mental health. I want to put information out for that. Now I have my own book. I have an ebook for mental health.
I did not know that.
No, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
So different things. I got an ebook for mental health. I dropped that literally last year on a Suicide Prevention Day. So I put that out, 10 tips to help your mental health. Because growing up, a lot of people also asked me for advice. And I don't know why. Maybe I was a quiet kid, so I always listen to people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just talk and they want someone who will listen. A lot of
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
won't listen. And like, I was a good listener. So
It's the quiet kids that are usually the therapists of the friend groups.
100%.
I was the same way in mine.
Really?
Anybody who had a problem would be like, Tama, what would you do in this situation? And I would just be like, yo, you're fucking up, or this you're not doing anything wrong, but you can change your course or do something like that.
Yeah.
And it's weird. You can learn a lot from other people by just sitting and listening.
Just sitting and listening, man.
Yeah.
So
You can
that
learn
was
you
me.
can learn a lot about, what people go through, people's experiences, and you can sort of contribute that to your own life, or if people are coming to you for advice or help, you can also use that to help them out.
100%. And I genuinely care about people, I'm very, empathy is a big thing for me. And I realized not everybody's like that.
No.
No, they're not.
You
at
think
Not
so,
at all.
right? But
Yeah.
You would think.
But yeah, not everybody's you. I had to learn that. Too. So I wanted to be more overarching of these different aspects, like growing financially, mentally, spiritually, physically. And there's a whole vision behind We Must Evolve because I'm also a creative, right? Love music. So I want to be able to provide like video services, photography. And so there's a creative side. There's the business, you want to start a brand. Well, I have courses for that. So I also do digital courses. That's another thing that I'm doing. So right now I have a couple digital courses where you could go through. It's like an hour long. And I just break down like 10 ways to grow your social media, 10 ways to boost your presence, to do marketing, content, and different tips and tricks for that. you know, the 5 things you should do to define your brand and your niche.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff that some artists will look over. You become the brand. Like as a musical artist, you are the fucking brand.
Man.
And so there's like marketing that goes into that, and having your online presence be up to date and good, and you know, keeping people engaged, and
Yes.
like all of that stuff is really important, especially to like people like us who are musical artists, who, especially when you're a super creative person, and let's say you're not really good at like the marketing aspects or the business side of it. Having people like you who are there to like provide those services and that kind of help is, I think, invaluable for a lot of people.
100%. I appreciate the recognition of that, you know, because not everybody sees it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that's needed. There's always going to be marketing. There's always going to be, you are the brand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are the brand. So that's one aspect. Another aspect is health. Really into like natural health, because the way the system's set up right now.
Oof. Yeah.
You know, yeah.
I
It's a lot
Spend
there, man.
$500 on this medication, it'll fix all your problems.
Here's
type
these
shit.
pills that will
1,000.
give you 50 other side effects, but it's
Literally.
the only thing we can give you.
Yeah.
And then you have to spend additional money to counteract those side
all of the
effects by
side
getting
effects.
more pills.
More pills.
Bro, yeah, I had a whole spiritual awakening, man. And in 2019, really got into health more, started changing my diet around. And CMOS was one of those
I've
big
heard
things.
I've heard good things about CMOS.
Yeah.
Amazing things. One of nature's wonders for healing the body. 92 minerals out of the 102 minerals the body needs. And
Wow.
it
Do
helps-
you get that locally or do you buy it online?
No, not locally.
Would that be something that you could get at like Natural Pantry if you could afford it?
I have not been to Natural Pantry to look for that specifically.
Yeah. It's just like the only really natural and health food store that I know we have is Natural
Right,
Pantry. So
right.
like I don't even know where else I'd get CMOS other than online.
I usually don't see it. I know a few people might be selling it here and there. Like I'm one of the people, like I'll sell it, and I have it. I've been taking it since 2019. I started selling it in 2023.
What are the
actually.
biggest benefits of it
Yeah,
that
I was
you've
gonna
noticed
ask,
so
like-
far?
It boosts your immune system, so it's great for eliminating excess mucus. And with all the excess mucus that accumulates from all the foods we eat, the processed foods, the artificial foods, fried foods, you know, that's what contributes to like disease. That's what disease catches on to, and that's what puts your body in when your body's dis-ease. You're in distress.
Yeah.
So it helps eliminate that mucus, and it just keeps your immune system strong. But it's very versatile. You could put it in your smoothies, you could put it in your drinks, you could put it in food. It's a thickening agent, so people bake with it too. And you can make face masks with it, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I knew about that. I know a lot of people who were into using CMOS in their like facial routine and their skincare routine and stuff like that. And then I knew a lot of people who were taking it for, you know, gut reasons or just
Yeah.
general like immunity and
100%.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it curbs appetite, so it's good for weight management as well. Multiple benefits. I mean, 92 minerals out of 102 minerals is crazy.
That is a lot.
That is a
That's
lot.
of
I mean,
minerals.
you're only missing 10.
Right.
I like don't even take a multivitamin. Like, I could probably use some CMOS.
I think me and you both could use some CMOS right about now.
Yeah,
Shit.
I recently started getting a little bit more serious about my health. So like I recently started working out, doing like just a simple routine in the morning. So I'll get up, do a very brief 10-minute thing of yoga, and then I'll do probably another 10 minutes of Pilates or like different exercises. I fucked up my legs for like 4 days the other day doing pistol squats. And so then I just had like 2 or 3 days of just doing core and arm exercises because
Yeah,
I fucked up my legs.
you were like sore as hell and stuff
Pistol
like that.
squats are not easy to fucking do. Okay, that shit hurts.
So tell me, what is a pistol squat?
It's when you squat with one leg while holding the other leg straight.
Oh yeah, no, those suck.
That shit fucking
Those
hurts.
sucks. Those suck.
Man. Oh, man.
So then my legs felt like they had a hernia for like 4 days. But so I recently started doing workouts in the morning, and then like right before lunch, I'll like do 20 sit-ups and a few push-ups and whatever. Like just I mix different stuff, and I've been doing it lightly
Okay.
just to like get myself into the routine. Because if I don't start off light, I will like lose all motivation to keep going. So I have to like start up light and then work my way through it. Cause I know some people who like, they just immediately were like, oh, fucking an hour a day, every single day. And I'm like, I can't do that shit.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah, like I can't do that. So I do a light, like 20 minutes of exercise in the morning, combining yoga and Pilates and different strength training exercises. Like in that corner over there, I've got my sliders, my Pilates ring, my fucking resistance bands. I've got various resistant bands too. And then I started like eating in a calorie deficit because I am an overeater. Like I always, I'm constantly fucking overeating, especially right before bed, which I know is not a good thing. But I'll like take on a shit ton of food at night right before bed. So I quit doing that. And it's weird because I'm hungry, but I know I'm not actually hungry. It's like fake hunger. It's like my body's like, ooh, you really want that extra dopamine from those chips right now. And I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. So I've just been eating like a good amount of protein to help with rebuilding my muscles after my exercise and reducing my portions. Cause I'm one of those people where like my eye is bigger than my actual stomach and I'll have really large portions, even though I don't actually need really large portions, especially if I'm paying attention to what it is that I'm eating.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm eating like a good amount of high protein foods that don't have a shit ton of sugar or a shit ton of fat, and I'm having vegetables with that. But it's only recently that I've started exercising my will and control to actually do that. Cause in my brain, I'm like, I get dopamine. I know I get dopamine from snacking. That's definitely, I've always been kind of like a comfort eater and an overeater. And I'm changing that. I'm like training myself to like you don't actually need to eat this much. Like you still need to eat, but you don't need to eat as much as you are, especially not the kind of shit that you're putting into your body. Like you can put better shit into your body. And then, yeah, it's been really interesting because I woke up the other day and looked in the mirror and my fucking, like I was starting to get like definition in my core and I was like, holy fuck. Like that gave me so much inspiration to like keep going with this because I'm so used to eating food before bed and like waking up bloated and shit. And it's been really hard to not eat. But then I woke up that morning and saw my body, and I also have been feeling better. And I'm like, this is good. I just gotta keep consistent with it, you know?
Fuck yeah. When I was in my little like fitness era when I was in college, what I found out is fitness as a whole is 80% diet, 20% exercise.
Abs are made in the kitchen.
Literally, bro.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, you cut out the carbs, you cut out the sugar. Like you said, you avoid the carbs from the chips and stuff like that. The oils or the fats and stuff like that. The more of that stuff you take out of your diet, the more you'll slim down. Because I'm starting to do the same thing. When you started your little fitness thing, it kind of kicked my ass into gear, and I'm starting to do the same thing. And I've started noticing like maybe instead of doing my normal like, oh, I want some Chips Ahoy cookies before I go to bed, because sometimes you want that little bit of sugar for, like you said, the dopamine to help you go to sleep. That's unnecessary calories that I just put in my body for no fucking reason, other than just to make me feel better.
We crave it,
and it's stupid, and it's stupid.
Another thing
it's just like an internal battle.
Well, I'm a big snacker when I'm like watching stuff. So if I'm watching TV, like I have this urge to be snacking, and it's so bad.
It's my biggest problem.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
And that's the problem with being a fucking stoner, man. Is like,
oh, that makes it worse.
That makes it worse. Is like that's all you want to do is fucking eat the chips, eat the sugary foods and stuff like that.
I'm gonna try replacing my snacking with like nuts. Like I really like cashews and walnuts, and it's better protein for you anyways. So if I can just like switch what I'm snacking on to better stuff and just keep watching my portions, I think that's
the secret.
That is the secret.
Yeah, alternatives. Yeah, every lunchtime I feel like I gotta watch Netflix or something. I'm like, why? And when I'm watching something, let me get something to eat.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird on how the brain kind of like puts two things like that together. Like, oh, I'm gonna turn on a TV show. I gotta have food.
It's a cultural thing. Do you think that's cultural? I don't know if every country like has the whole like sit down with snacks and consume media kind of like thing.
Social conditioning, like eating popcorn when you watch movies.
I guess that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
It might be.
Because, like, I know, like, in the Philippines, if you're even lucky enough to have a TV, they don't really be snacking in front of it either.
It's more like information and stuff like that, right?
Well, no, it's just, like, the whole fucking village gathers at whoever well, it's funny because, like, in my town, when my mom, because my mom is one of the few people in our town that actually, like, you know, has a lot of money as far as, like, the Philippines goes, because she came to America and has, like, an American business and sends money back. So we were one of the few people that even had a TV, and the neighbor kids would all just come over to our house after dinner, and everyone would just like be sitting on our floor watching the TV. And it's like a drama, like a Filipino drama that's going on, and everyone's like like and I can understand, so I'm like sitting there like watching with them like, oh my god. It's weird cuz like I can't speak my mother's tongue, and I can't speak her national tongue, but I can understand both of them fairly well, like enough that I know contextually what's going on, or if someone's talking shit about me. My mom will talk shit about me to my aunts and uncles all the fucking time, and there was this one trip where, and it was weird because it was just kind of like all of a sudden, like I could piece things together, which was really strange. I don't know what that was about, but she was talking mad shit about me to my aunt, and I just turned around and I looked at her and I was like, I am not fucking like that. And she just looks at me and she's like, you understand me? And I'm like, yes, I've been hearing you speak this language since I was born. Yes, I know what you're saying right now. Like, you're talking shit. Fuck off.
Did not expect that, right?
And then another time, my uncle was talking to my dad, and my dad's the white one, so he doesn't really understand the language. And my dad's like just nodding and looking at my uncle, just like trying to be polite, but he has no idea what my uncle is saying. The whole time, it's funny because I do, and I'm just like looking at my dad and looking at my uncle. And my dad like turns to my mom and he's like, I have no idea what he's saying. And then she's about to like step in and explain it. And I'm like, he's saying that he wants you to go with him up to his place so y'all can drink, and then the girls stay here. And then my mom was just like, she just looks at me again and she's so like, damn, you like actually understand. I'm like, yes, I do. I guess it's like in my blood or my DNA or something.
I am your kid.
Yeah, but it's crazy because like there's two languages, because there's the national language, which is Tagalog, but then there's like a million other dialects of various separate languages that exist in the Philippines. So like for my mother, it's Boholano Binisaya, because it's Binisaya but like local to her island. They still all very much had their own separate cultures and languages and dialects within languages. So she has like our mother tongue, which is Binisaya, and then the national language, Tagalog, and then she also learned English. So my mother is multilingual. I am not. I don't count myself as multilingual just because I can understand it. I will count myself as multilingual when I can also speak it back.
Yeah,
but at the moment,
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I can understand Spanish like really, really, really well, but if you ask me to speak it, I can't.
Mm-hmm. What about you? You speak any other languages?
Nah, I don't. Yeah, that's what I always liked about people who speak multiple languages. I feel like you're just accessing new parts of your brain.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like,
well, not only that, it also unlocks your ability to go to different countries and stuff like that.
Easier.
And not well, I guess not stick out like a sore thumb, because if I go to, you know, China or something like that, and I'm just this white boy who can speak fluent Chinese, I'm still gonna stick out like a sore thumb.
Well,
but you
people
know,
also definitely, I've noticed that people
they think it's respectable.
They
if you,
appreciate
yes,
when
exactly.
you know their language. Like I've been to Paris. French people in Paris absolutely fucking hate Americans. They hate us, and they hate that we don't speak French when we go over there. I'm sure it's not like that in all of France, but I know in Paris in particular, oh my God.
That's why I want to go to Italy. That's why I want to go to Italy.
People. They were just like, why do you cut? Literally, like this one bar owner came up to me and my coworkers because we were in Paris for work, and he was just like, why do you Americans come to our country and you don't speak French? And he was just like going off on us, and we were like, dude, we're only here for 4 days. So you want us to learn your entire language for 4 days?
The same fucking reason y'all tour America, but y'all don't speak fucking English. The fuck?
Well, it's funny because he could speak English.
You filthy Americans! Why you come and poison our waters?
Well, it was funny because he was ethnically Chinese, nationally French, and also spoke English. And I was like, well, see, this is like, you speak multiple language because all Asians speak multiple languages. Like they're born with like that extra part in their brain that can already pick up multiple languages. It's really fucking annoying, but I really think it's just because as you're getting older and you're already in a bilingual place or a place that teaches multiple languages, like you're going to be able to pick up multiple languages faster, which is why I think my mom already like speaking both her national and mother tongue was able to pick up English and parts of Mandarin. And it's because, you know, she already grew up knowing two separate languages.
Right.
Whereas us in America, we kind of like only speak one language and then take like, I don't know, a few years of something in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't really grow unless you're like like me, the child of an immigrant who has their parents speaking that language constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I do wish I had paid more attention and it's funny because like I was a kid, of course I didn't pay more attention, but as an adult, I wish I had paid more attention to what my mom, because she didn't really try to teach us the language so much. Like she would teach us a little bit here and there, but it wasn't like a focal point of, you know, like my mother wasn't super into like keeping the culture alive.
Okay.
She was just like, oh, like she really wanted to do the American thing, like the American dream. So like we still had a good amount of connection with the culture, but teaching us the language wasn't as big of a deal for her. But the moments that she was trying to teach us, I wish I would have paid a little bit more attention because I like that I can understand it, but I wish I could speak it too.
Yeah, the roots.
Yeah.
Connecting to the culture.
Yeah, and that's become more important for me as I've gotten older. I don't know, as I get older, I have more of an appreciation for other cultures and what they believe and how they do things. And for a long time, like I still feel like even when I'm speaking to my friends who are out of the country, I feel, and I have no other way of explaining this, but I feel so American. It's just like I used to apologize to my French friend because I was like, I am so, and he speaks French, but he's not French. He's Irish, but he lives in France and teaches in France and speaks French. But I would like talk to him and then apologize because I'm listening back to what I'm saying and I'm like, oh my God, I sound so fucking American right now. And he's very posh and like distinguished with the way that he speaks. And it's just so like I'm starting to appreciate my Filipino roots a lot more and want to connect with it a lot more. And as an adult, just because I like that I'm not just an American. I have a lot of other like deep roots that need acknowledging, and because I'm also a firm like believer in acknowledging the people that came before us and the people that brought us here, so like the ancestors.
Yeah.
Indigenous.
And it's important for me to acknowledge my ancestral roots as well on both my dad's and mom's side, which is why I've been paying more attention to my Filipino roots and really caring more, because it is a big part of me and I have family over there and I really should care, and I shouldn't let the fact that I'm American living in America separate me from that whole part of myself.
Yeah, because there's more to you than meets the eye. And it's tough, especially like growing up in the Black community for myself, being African American, which is like a blanket term. You know, before we were given that title, we had tribes and stuff, but our identity as a whole has just been washed over. Like they always said we came from Africa, but then other people are saying we've also been here in America and that we're, you know, Native Americans. So that's been something for me too. I've been doing a lot of like self-research and like what is my genetic background? Because it's not.
The crazy thing is that for all of us, it really is like it spans so many different cultures. Like if you really look back, if we could go back as far as we could, we would find out like us existing here today is because of multiple people from multiple cultures. In both bad and good ways, because, you know, colonization, like all of us are so, and even beyond that, just the fact that we all are earthlings, like we're all people who live on Earth. Like it's just fascinating. And I've really started to appreciate that more too. And I think that's why my appreciation for other cultures has gotten so great is because you start to acknowledge just how much we're all really like we're all very different culturally and maybe aesthetically and by appearances, but we're also very much the same because we've all lived on this planet. We've all grown to adapt to whatever part of the planet that we were living on, and we all have skeletons and muscles and blood, and we're all the same basically. That's a unifying thing, but it's also good to also acknowledge other cultures that exist outside of your own. The different, unity, that's also important to acknowledge. Like you can't just be like, oh, because some people will be crazy and be like, oh, we're all the same. I can say this slur if I want to, and I'm like, no, you got to be respectful of people too. Like you got to be respectful of people's cultures and what they believe
in the history.
That's the unifying part, is that we are all humans, but we also are all very different, and I think that's fucking awesome. And I like learning about those differences.
Agreed. Yeah. There's so many different cultures and stuff like that in this world, and there's so much beauty in it. I mean, even if you don't see eye to eye, like there are some cultures that have different belief systems and stuff like that, and it's super duper beautiful. I think it's important to learn about these cultures and appreciate them for what they are.
1000%.
Because I think there's something beautiful in looking at somebody who aesthetically, like you were saying, looks different, and being able to hear their stories, be able to maybe they bring food. I would love to try different cultural foods and stuff like that. Get different tastes and stuff like that. Different music, different those types of aspects, and
you can learn so much from other people too.
Literally, yeah.
Like traveling to other countries and engaging in their culture, like you can also see how people have adapted to where they live like so well, even without like a lot of modern day amenities. Like we were utilizing animals for travel for a long time, like, and it's like everyone has like their local foods, the local crops, and under capitalism things have gotten a little bit more globalized. So that's another reason why I think it's important to pay attention to culture and like ancestral knowledge, because we want to be able to keep that going forward. We don't want to completely lose what makes...
You don't want to lose where you came from.
No, you don't want to lose that. And I think a lot of people these days are kind of losing that.
Yeah.
Like it's...
Or trying to just find it.
Or like trying to find it too.
They just said, oh, you're from Africa. And that was it. Yeah.
I remember I had a friend once, and I was talking about like how I was learning more about my ancestry, and he's like, well, man, I can't even learn more about my ancestry because I was like he was black, and he had no way of tracing like what you were saying, what tribes he came from or anything. Like all he knows is that his family way back when came here on a fucking slave boat. Like,
right.
And he has no way of tracking, his ancestry or who he belongs to. And I remember hearing that, and just like it completely tore me apart. I was like, fuck, like it's also a privilege that I'm able to know who my people are and like be able to go that far back, because some people don't even have that, and that's really fucking terrible.
To know your roots, I think knowledge of self is one of the biggest things, just knowing yourself. And I think where you came from, your roots, is definitely part of knowing yourself.
Yeah.
So it's a journey. Like I've done DNA tests actually, like ancestry tests.
I've been skeptical about it, but I'm kind of in the same boat. I want to do it. My family roots and everything like that, it's a very fucked up situation.
Oh man.
So I know for certain I'm part Cherokee Indian because my great grandmother died on the Trail of Tears. I know that for fact. And that's on my mom's side. On my dad's side, it's wishy-washy. I don't know where my dad came from. I don't know where his roots come from. And that's like I want to know.
Right.
I want to know what else, where my ancestors came from. How did we get to this point? Like, where did you come from?
Yes, you want to
I want to know. I mean, I think it would make me feel better, sort of, just like knowing, like, oh, this is what my family did. This is how I got here. This is my whole family story.
Yeah.
I don't have that luxury or that opportunity because I it's wishy-washy. I don't know.
It is. It really is.
What did you find out on your DNA test?
Well, I took an African DNA test first on my maternal side, and it said I have roots from like 500 years plus going back.
Wow.
Whoa.
To the Dakar people of Cameroon. So it's like in central western Africa.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also took the regular ancestry DNA test, which has more than just like the African tribes on it. But number one was Nigeria that I had on there.
Okay.
So I basically took that as, West African. And then my dad has always said we have Cherokee in our DNA too. Great grandfather. So I basically took that as a mix is, okay, so Cherokee and some West African mixed in. But I can't say for sure for anything. I take those results with a grain of salt.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, got to.
You can't take it as 100% fact because there's really no physical way to know for sure unless you have a fucking time machine and you go back and talk to these people.
Yeah, we haven't. Our records don't go like that far back.
Literally, yeah, and that's the problem.
Because that like spans hundreds of years.
Yeah, so I was aware of that. Like, I'm not just gonna take this like, this is exactly what I am. But when I do have the conversation, I can say, well, these are things that I've pieced together. But also, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. Because calling ourselves black, we all like black people. We call ourselves black, but that term was actually like derogatory.
It was derogatory for a while.
It was denoted you were less than a person.
Yeah,
you were less than white. That means you didn't own land.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a whole socioeconomic term put in place there.
White people have always kind of put themselves above other races.
There are people out there. There are white supremacists and people who think they're better because of the color of their skin.
The only problem is that as a white person, especially living here in America, we're technically all settlers. We're technically all the children of the people who came here with slaves, or they came here and they benefited off of what slaves did. So in that case, it's sort of endearing when someone's like, oh, well, I don't really see color, but also there's a lot of history and where you kind of have to see color because there have been colors that have benefited off of the backs of other colors. Yeah. Which is like white people have always benefited off of the backs of what black people did making this country. And it was something that they did against their will. They came here as slaves. We brought them here as slaves. And we're still profiting off of that to this day. And not just black people, but the Native Americans too. So in America specifically for our specific, like for the nuance of how we became a country, I think it is important to see the colors of white, black, and brown and Native Americans simply because of our history and those like differences in class. Because really it was just white people in general have always put themselves as the upper class throughout history, whether it was like Germans, which are still white, we're still white people doing white people shit. So in that way, I personally don't like to say like, oh, I don't see color, I don't see white or black, because I do like I see a black person, I see a Native American person or an indigenous person, to be politically correct or just have the empathy for what, because like that trauma is in bloodlines, like that shit, even if you weren't there all those years, like that's still something that people carry in their DNA. It's generational trauma.
Right.
And as someone who is half white, I do personally feel like it is my responsibility as someone who's half white to acknowledge that like I do benefit from being part white. Like I'm white passing. I have white privilege in certain senses because of the fact that I'm half white. So I need to be able to acknowledge that and own up to that. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm not the one who did it. It wasn't me. I'm like, yeah, but you also carry the same genetics and DNA of the people who are doing it. So you have a personal responsibility to be better than the people who came before you. It's still acknowledging your ancestors. You have to acknowledge the good and the bad of your ancestors. And a lot of people won't be better, but I personally want to be one of the people who are better.
The best way I can describe it is if you're a good-hearted person, I don't care.
Man, that's what it comes down to.
We all bleed fucking red at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you're my brother, you're my sister, regardless of what's on the outside. It's what's on the inside that matters in the end.
Character.
Yeah.
You know, my mom always says, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Amen.
She always
The
told me
golden
that,
rule.
You know, the golden rule, 100%. So I stand on that, you know, just having good morals, good character. That's what really matters at the end of the day. No matter where you come from, I don't care if you're black, white, orange, freaking alien. Like,
Literally. As long as
Yeah.
you treat me with respect, you're kind, you respect boundaries, we're cool. I don't care.
Yeah, like I was talking to you earlier a little bit about how like my father's a bit racist, but he's one of those people. He's one of those older white guys that doesn't think he's racist because he's like friends with people of color.
Mm-hmm.
My grandpa in Texas. Oh.
Yeah, like he's like, oh well, I'm not racist. Like I have this friend and this person,
Oh,
and it's just like, okay, then it's hard to explain to the older generation that some of the things that they say and believe, like that is still racism. It doesn't matter if you have a friend that is a person of color. Like what you just said was fucking racist.
Right.
It's so hard, like speaking to the older generation about it because they're so like desensitized and detached from it. Like I was at the dog park and there's this wonderful old lady. I love her, and she's really like, and she's older, but like she's in great shape. She looks great. She's super active. She's a total fucking riot to be around. Great conversationalist. Like she thinks she's annoying because she talks so much, but I love it because I'm not usually a super big talker. So I can just like sit back and like let her talk about her day, and it's pretty great. But me and one of my neighbors, and her, we're all at the dog park, and we start talking about, you know, how, you know, the United States was, you know, we took this land from the Native Americans. And she was like, no, we didn't.
What?
What? And me and my other neighbor, we just look at her and we're like, no, yes, we did. And she's like, no, we didn't. We didn't take this land from them. And then it was just like, it was so insane to see like that sort of like someone had separated the truth from reality so much. And a lot of it is, and honestly, I think because of those skeletons are in our closet, people aren't getting that kind of education. Like you learn about it a little bit, but most of what I've learned about indigenous history here in the States has been from indigenous people talking about the shit that their family, and like not so long ago, like those residential schools were existing like not that long ago.
Yeah.
Like their grandparents were in those schools, and hearing like their side it's just a huge difference from what we learn in school about American history. Like so much of it is left out. Like a lot of people are just like, fucking, oh yeah, Abraham Lincoln, he was the best. He was like, oh, he helped free the slaves. He also put so many Native Americans to death. Like so many. And you don't learn about that shit in our history because it's taken out because they don't want us to know about that history.
Censorship.
Yeah, and it's really fucking, it's horrible. And in a way, I am glad that my dad was kind of like a paranoid Christian that didn't want me to go to school, because I didn't have to go through the school, like the structure of school. Because if you think about it, the way the school is set up, it's set up to get you ready to be a worker in society.
Yeah.
Like you're getting up early, you have to follow rules, you have to look a certain way, you have to be at a place at a certain time, put in a certain amount of work. Like it's literally just preparing you for being a worker and producing capital. So in a way, I feel lucky that I was like that sheltered homeschooled kid, because I got access to the internet, and in a way that was good and bad. But also I became very good at learning on my own. So I didn't have to tell someone else didn't have to tell me what I needed to learn. I mean, I still had to go through a homeschooling program and get all the same credits that everyone else had to, and pass the standardized tests and all that shit, and get a certain amount of grades and credits to be able to pass and get my diploma. But I was able to do so kind of more on my own terms, which I think helped me a lot.
Yeah, schools definitely created like the system that you just mentioned, like, you know, the bell system, and then you're dismissed at a certain time. That was military. That came from a military basis.
Yeah.
I actually did a little research on that some time ago. I don't have all the information on me right now, but pressure. pressure
Yeah.
was something they got that from.
Yeah, public school is to turn you into a worker bee.
Yeah,
That's basically what it is.
It's rough. And it was funny because my dad didn't want me to go to school because it was so weird. Like my cousin asked him once, he was just like, "Why don't you let Jerry go to school?" And he's like, "I don't want her to get pregnant." And I'm like, "Is that really the reason why?" And also, fuck you. Like, but now that I look back on it, I'm like, it's pretty good because I was able to become self-sufficient at learning and keep myself motivated in learning, which honestly I give myself props because no kid wants to be like learn like you like learning, but you also want to play
Yeah.
and like do other shit. And it was nice because I got to basically have my own sleep schedule. So I got to have my own sleep schedule. I got to learn semi on my own time.
How long did you do this?
I was homeschooled all the way till I graduated.
Really?
Yeah, I never went.
Wow,
I
lucky.
never went to a public high
lucky.
school. Like I
Lucky.
stepped inside public high schools, like when there was a book fair going on, or I remember one time they had like a bodybuilding competition, and my cousin's friend was in it, so he took me to South, and we like watched the bodybuilding competition. But I never actually went to a school like ever.
Wow. I was homeschooled for 2 years. That
Yeah.
was it. 4th and 5th grade.
Mm.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
got that luxury.
It was weird because my dad basically he taught me how to read, and then he taught me math up to like division. And then eventually he was just like, I don't know if I'm giving her the best education just teaching her on my own. And that's when we went to Raven Correspondence School, which is a homeschooling program. And with the advisory teacher that we ended up getting paired up with was like, yeah, like these textbooks are great, but like she needs more than this.
Mm.
And so they give you courses. And the cool thing is that having her as my advisory teacher and it being tailored towards homeschooled kids and making sure they're still getting the good, like the right education, I got to be actively involved in the curriculums that I was using. She would be like, okay, here are some different curriculums that I think would work for you and your specific learning type, being self-motivated, with like computer programs that you can like that will teach you and you can follow along in your textbooks. And she would let me choose which ones I wanted to do each year. So I got to be actively involved in the curriculum that I was using. And I remember one of the ones that I really, really loved, I can't remember what it was called, but it was for English class. And it was a homeschooling course that was it was for English, but it was based on creative writing. So he was taking you through all the different steps of creating like a novel.
Mm.
So my English class, I got to learn how to write a fucking novel. Like it was just
Fire.
it was
Yo,
the
that's
coolest.
sick.
It was honestly, I am very, very privileged in the fact that I got to be homeschooled. And I recognize that now as an adult because I'll hear people talk about like what school was like for them. And I'm like, that sounds more like a drama than it does like actual education.
Oh, man.
Like,
Yeah, I like being homeschooled. I want to continue.
yeah, and then even when I did college, it was online. So it was still very much like you had to be self-motivated. Like I had my teachers checking in, being like, this is your assignment, and like having like the classes and the courses. But it was still from the comfort of like my own room and semi on my own time.
Yeah.
And so that was also really cool. I wouldn't go to school now though. If I could go back and not do that simply because the debt was not worth it.
Mm.
Like I love being able to flex my music production degree, but the amount of debt I'm in, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't fucking
Man.
worth it.
I think school like kind of crushes that self-motivation for learning. I feel like a lot of people don't want to learn when they get older because like you were forced to learn like all these different things that you probably didn't care about. You weren't
Literally,
passionate
like
about.
80% of the shit that I learned in school, I don't even fucking remember anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Don't even
it's
use.
useless shit, stuff I don't care about. It's not.
Because it's all
not
standardized. It's not tailored to the person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, the biggest problem with our education system is like not every kid is the same. You
Yes.
can't just stick a bunch of kids in a special ed class because they have ADHD. Like they don't like there needs to be courses for the different types of kids. Like the active kids need to be able to learn in a way that keeps them active. Like, yeah, you have sports, but That doesn't mean that they're going to excel in all the other things. Like it needs to be tailored more towards the student and their needs. But you can't do that because, schools are very much business modeled. Like it's modeled after a business. It's like, oh, well, we don't have the funding for this, or we have to cut this. And it's less and less about the students and what they're learning, and more about how do we keep this school open? Like, how do we make more money to keep this fucking school open?
How do we make the kids conform?
Yeah, basically.
That's literally what it is.
Group
I mean,
thinking.
like when I was in school, it was funny how you mentioned like ADHD and stuff like that. The reason I didn't like pay attention in class is because it was shit that I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like schools should be, guided towards, what do you, like kids, there are kids in high school who I knew who knew what they were going to be doing for the rest of their lives. Why wouldn't you have classes and stuff like that to help them get ready for that next step?
Exactly.
That's what I think school should be, directed towards.
A lot of things missing in the school system.
And that's what made college for me. I went to Texas State Technical College, and I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, and I was locked in and I was focused, and my ADHD never gave me fucking trouble because I was doing something I was interested in. But another thing that I don't like about our school systems is that in all these other countries, college and just education as a whole is fucking free.
Yeah.
It's free. Why are we spending and putting ourselves
That also irks
and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt just to get a piece of paper to further our education, to be better, to change the world, to do these things? Why would you make us spend money to do that? If my grades show that I'm here and I'm wanting to do this, why shouldn't I just be doing this?
Because,
shit
like
for free?
I said, it's based off of the business model. Everything under capitalism is a business.
Uncle Sam needs his money.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Well, Uncle Sam needs to stop spending his money on stupid shit.
Yeah, like war. Can we please make public education? We need more money for that, because like if you look at the way that we test compared to other countries, our students are fucking dumb.
Yeah,
our students are fucking
kids
dumb
our kids are behind the
compared
curve.
to other countries, and it's a little bit embarrassing, but I know that it's because our education system is not good.
It's bad.
It's not good
It's
at all.
really bad.
Another thing that I was going to mention is that, like what you were saying, it wasn't stuff that you wanted to like learn about, so
No.
you weren't doing good. I did not get I got semi-okay grades in some things. Like I was always pretty advanced in reading and English and stuff like that. But like I sucked at math. And when science became very based around math, then I started to suck at science too. So my grades were like average to below average going through regular like the middle school and high school. But I graduated from my college with a 3.9 GPA.
Hey.
That one, like, the only reason why I didn't get a 4 is because it was like right off the tail end, because I had to take a break for a month because of my brain tumors. And then when I finished up the rest of it, like my stuff wasn't my projects and my submissions weren't as good as they had been, because I was kind of like recovering a little bit.
You were out of it.
So I think that's why my GPA wasn't like, it would have been a fucking 4.0. Like I would have had a 4.0 GPA, but I graduated with a 3.9. I graduated with honors. And like, as someone who had always been kind of told that I was fucking stupid going through school, and like my own mother used to call me fucking dumb all the time. And like, that's just like, it's a Filipino cultural thing that a lot of the younger generation is trying to change. It's like a tough love thing that a lot of the older generation of Filipino people tend to do towards the younger generation. So like I was getting called stupid by my mother constantly. My grades were kind of like making me feel like I was stupid. I used to have anxiety a lot in high school because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to graduate. And like I didn't have really anyone to fall back on because I'm a homeschooled kid, mostly teaching myself. So that was fucking terrible. But then going to college for something that I actually wanted to go to, that I enjoyed, 3.9 GPA,
Literally.
fucking graduated with honors.
Mine's
like,
the exact same way.
There we go.
3.2 in fucking high school senior year to a 4.1 GPA in college. I mean, put 2 and 2 together. When you got me engaged on something I want to learn, I'm gonna fucking succeed and excel in it.
yeah.
But if you put me in a room and tell me to sit down and read a book that I don't want to fucking read, answer questions that about a book that I don't want to fucking read, I'm not gonna do it.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna struggle.
You got to stimulate the individual's curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And it's hard to do when you've got like a class of how many kids and one teacher. Like it's also like not a whole lot of space for the teacher to individualize the way that they teach each student because they've got a class full of so many kids.
I think that's what I think that's a problem with like our high schools nowadays is that literally when I was in school, there was like 35 to 40 people in every fucking class that I was in.
That's a lot of
That's
kids.
a lot
for
of
one
people
person.
for one student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For one teacher, sorry.
Yeah.
One teacher, 30 to 40 kids. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Unique kids,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, everyone's different.
Everyone's different, man. You know, a book actually put me onto some of this stuff in high school. Have you guys heard of Weapons of Mass Instruction?
No.
I recommend it by John Taylor Gatto. It talks about this stuff.
Does it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Very interesting. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh yeah.
No,
hell
thank
yeah.
you.
I love
For
a good
sure.
book recommendation.
I'm getting more into reading and stuff like that now.
I love books. Like
Yeah.
most of my shelf is only has like there's only a few books on there. I have tons of books in boxes in my closet. Like I just haven't put them on my shelf, but I do a lot of reading on so many different things like
Yeah.
fiction, nonfiction, history, spirituality, like all kinds of shit. I just love reading in like I said, I always tested it. When I was in high school, I was testing at college grade like reading levels. Whatever the fuck that means. My teacher told me that. She's all like, and also I even wrote college papers for my cousin when he was in college because he was dyslexic and he was very concise when he was speaking, but he had such a hard time typing things out. So I would type for him and like he would give me like what he wanted to say and I'd type it for him, and then like every now and then I'd change a word or make something better. He was getting A's in college because I
Damn.
was helping him with this.
man.
Jerry's the
fuck-
goat.
When I was a teenager in high school, I was helping him with this fucking college paperwork. But yeah, I love reading. I recently read Braiding Sweetgrass. I can't remember who it's by, but it's a pretty popular book and it is so good. I'm gonna look up the
And you got
author's
Dune
name.
up there too.
Oh, I fucking
Ah.
love Dune.
I
I've
would-
got Dune Messiah by my
That is
my
cold.
my
That's
bed.
an amazing movie. I really like that movie.
Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Yeah. Fucking fantastic book. It's like a lot of indigenous knowledge, but like she basically went to college to, study like plants and herbs and all that kind of stuff, and it's a beautiful fucking book. She makes a lot of like really cool analogies between nature and plants and like us as humans, and it's a fantastic, beautiful read. So I definitely recommend everyone read it. It was like a bestseller. Botanist. Yeah.
Botanist.
She's
A
a
botanist.
I'm so bad at this. I'm so sorry. Potawatomi botanist. Author and the director of the Center for Native Peoples and the Environment at the State University of New York College of Environmental Science and Forestry. So like forestry and environmental science and botany. But yeah, fucking fantastic book. And she's got another one that she released that I also really want to read next. But I love a good book recommendation. Dune, fucking love that book. Love the movie.
Yeah.
Second movie, greatest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. And I'm like a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
Okay. Yeah. That was definitely one of my favorite top movies I was watching last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dune 2.
Yeah. I went to see it by myself. I go to the movies by myself.
I
and-
saw it 3 times in theaters.
Oh, man.
I saw it 3 times. I went the first time with my cousin in XD, and then I saw it in IMAX with my sister and her boyfriend. Then I saw it in IMAX again with my boss.
Oh, man.
Because it's literally one of the greatest movies of all time. I love Dune 2. So good. God, the sandworm riding scene. Oh, man, it was so
man.
good. You know they
Don't
do.
spoil it all. I still
Sorry.
need to watch it.
Sorry.
She's been
I won't spoil any
like
more of it.
tearing me up for
You
not
gotta
watching.
fucking watch it, dude. I
Yeah.
probably will watch it tonight before bed if I'm being completely honest.
Well,
but
now that I got my projector and shit like that working, I might as well like.
you should watch it.
I'm gonna go home and like sign in to my Max account and fucking go watch it
You
tonight.
should.
Yeah,
You
tap
should.
into that.
I-
Hell yeah.
Something I did want to mention, and this is really not a spoiler, but that scene they used no special effects for that scene.
Really?
No, it was all like they had huge fans blowing sand for that scene. There was no
Oh,
special
man.
effects used. Fucking crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like I actually learned that for a movie, it was pretty low budget. Like he kept both movies pretty low budget comparatively to like a Marvel movie.
Right.
And
They
it's
spent like $300 million to make it or something.
well,
like
and
that.
it's because most of it is CGI and
Yeah.
like computer animation. But for Dune, they were actually able to get away with a smaller budget because everything was very much like physical, and there weren't special effects used for the movie.
Oh, that's a real.
Well, there
that's
was
really
there
cool.
was special effects used for the movie, but not as much. Like a lot of the scenes were like sets that were built and like real things that were happening, other than like the huge ships, obviously. You know,
Right.
or the sandworm. I'm assuming.
some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But incredible movie.
Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve makes some incredible movies.
Shout out to the new generation of actors like Zendaya.
Yeah. Dude.
Timothy. Wait, what's his
Timothy
last name?
Chalamet makes me
Chalamet, yeah.
angry because he's just like, he's so white boy, but he's so good at acting. I'm just like, this kid is so talented. It like irks me.
Man. And he was like in the commercials before the movie even started for like a Willy Wonka.
Yeah, that
remake.
movie was actually
Also,
pretty good.
yeah.
He did a really good Willy Wonka. And then isn't he playing like Bob Dylan or something in a new movie? He's playing a famous musician in another, like a biopic, and it's not out yet, but it's about to. He's just getting all of the good roles.
Right. That's how you know they working.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's making those moves.
Yeah,
He's making the moves.
man, acting would be interesting. I've always kind of played around with the idea of acting.
Yeah.
I would only do very specific roles though. Like if I could play the antagonist, I would probably do better as an antagonist than a protagonist in a movie.
Definitely.
Like,
I can agree.
I definitely want to be a bad guy in a movie for sure. For fucking sure.
Dude, ever since I was a kid, everyone like they look at me and they think of like a bully. So I think like
You have bully vibes.
so if I were to be an actor, I would probably be the same thing, like the antagonist.
Yeah,
I could
like
probably pull it off a lot better.
Your visuals definitely give off more bully vibes, but
Oh,
then
man.
then actually talking to you, it's like, oh no, this is just a teddy bear. Okay, got it.
That'd be pretty fun being in a movie. I've
Right?
always thought about that too.
Like even just like a small production or something. It doesn't even have to be something serious, but
Right.
just the idea
Nah,
of learning,
yeah.
like just trying acting would be pretty fun.
Facts. It was a short film.
Yeah, a short film would be interesting. I did a little short film. I didn't act in it, but I did all of like I did the camera, the videography, and then I did the editing and like the music for it and everything. And I had
Yeah.
my cousin and her boyfriend at the time do the acting. It was very dramatic. I was like 15 when I made it, and I don't know why I wrote the story so dark. It was literally
man.
so ridiculously dark, but they did so well. And then that was like where I was like, maybe I would like to be in front of the camera sometime too, instead of just like I'm good behind the camera at most things, but being in front of the camera would be pretty cool too.
I plan on making one now
Yeah.
because within my brand we must evolve. Just acquired a videographer. Which is
Oh,
pretty dope.
cool.
Yeah, we just shot a music video a few weeks ago.
That's really exciting.
Dude,
So-
hell yeah.
Yeah, 4K. I was like, oh man.
Ooh,
I'm looking-
that's how you know it's gonna be good.
That's how you know it's gonna
High
be good.
quality,
That high
crisp.
quality stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm dropping that pretty soon.
That's
I'll drop some
exciting.
teasers soon.